right. Good afternoon, everybody. While you are trickling in, I am going to start with our normal housekeeping notes. We appreciate you joining. We have a wonderful expert speaker and actually AutoLeap customer with us today, Jeremy O'Neill, speaking about the ways your service advisors can drive ROI, so the return on investment. First, I'm going to kick off and just say we are recording this session. We will send the slides and the recording to you tomorrow. So if anything happens with your technology, you have to drop for whatever the situation is in the shop, we will send you the recording, but we do hope you stay on as long as possible and engage with us in the chat function, the Q&A and chat function. Try to use the Q&A. It's a little bit better to organize the questions, and we'll ask them as we go. So please do that because we are sharing this content for you to help you guys grow your shops. As always, at the end, when we close out the session, a survey will pop up. By filling out that survey, you will get a $20 Amazon gift card sent to your email. So please do that. We really appreciate it. We also have some fun poll questions to engage you guys since we can't talk to you live. So I hope you have fun with that and answer them. We would love to engage with you on those. So Jeremy, I am so glad you are here. We appreciate your expertise and taking the time out of your life, your business. We really appreciate it. So thank you for being here.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me. I do have a question. Does that mean every person that fills out a survey gets a $20 gift card, or is it just one going out to a selected person?
No, I send gift cards every single webinar. I know.
I should have my kids on this call. Dang.
Okay. Well, I will probably not let Lexi doodle.
Oh man, we had the biggest laugh about that the other night. So
did you told her?
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, she said I got you, and it's funny. So for those of you who don't know, my daughter gets on my computer and will change my name to random stuff, and she put Lexi Doodle hee hee ha ha on my last Zoom meeting. It was pretty funny. So I didn't catch that. So
that's great.
Gotta love your children, right?
Yeah, they leave you little reminders about them everywhere we go. So
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right. Well, I will let you jump in and I will manage the Q&A, the chat. And so throughout the session, I may pause you and get those answered live so that we can get what everybody needs taken care of.
Excellent. Well, welcome everybody. It is an honor to be here. And I believe I've got about 18 hours with you. For the next 18 hours, we're going to be together and going through. It's not 18 hours. We're going to be here for about an hour. And I want to share with you some of the most updated and success tools that we're using in our shop to generate a lot of repairs and get a lot of happy customers as well. And I love to study our industry. And if you look at where our industry is at, and I've been on a very interesting journey. And for those of you that know me, I bought the worst shop in the United States about 7 years ago. And we've turned it into one of the more successful shops in the United States in a very short period of time. But through that journey, it's interesting how being a shop owner, a technician, and a service advisor can really suck your time away and really suck you into the business of a day-to-day operating an auto repair shop. So what I want to do for you guys today is this: give you some tools to work smarter, to be stronger, and then actually get your results faster. And I do believe that where we're at in this industry is we're really in the middle of this vortex of a technological advance that we really have no idea what's going to hit us in about 5 to 10 years. And I catch myself a lot looking at what we're working on in the shop, the cars that we're working on, the type of repairs that we're doing. And it's still a lot of the stuff that we saw for the last 10 years. Now, there are some new things emerging, but realistically, I don't market to EVs. I don't market to a lot of hybrids. We're a traditional auto repair shop in Southern California. And I've looked at my marketing for the past 2 years, and I've only had 3 requests for repairs on Tesla. So when you look at where the industry is evolving, we still have a great opportunity right now to capture the market that we're in. And I want to give you some data to help you understand that. And then for the advisors, there's a lot of hidden profits out there. There's a lot of hidden sales that we just don't capture because we kind of keep doing business the way that we've done it since we've been in the business. And I've been in this business for over 30 years now. I can't believe that. I turned 50 this year. And I still go back when I talk to, some of my colleagues about, yeah, I remember in the 90s, and they're like, wait a second, you were alive in the 90s? I was born in 2005. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm getting really old. So yeah, we can't keep doing things the same way that we did and expect different results. So that's what we're going to go through today. We got an exciting program, and I'm going to share with you the tools that I use every single day on my service counter. So here's the thing. There are broken cars everywhere. And shops are realizing record profits, yet change is happening. And to this point, 10 minutes ago, our waiting room is right outside my office wall here. My advisor had a traveler come through and their car is broken and it's leaking oil all over the place. And I politely went out there and I said, I would love to help you guys, but you're being a little too loud. I've got a webinar coming up in an hour, so you're going to have to leave the shop and go to Starbucks or get in a car and go somewhere else because I'm teaching. But there are broken cars everywhere. So if you have a car count problem in your shop, you really need to step back and look at what you're doing because there is so much opportunity everywhere. And Amber, can I ask you a quick question?
Yes, you may.
Awesome. I just want to make sure you would respond before I just jumped into it.
Well, I was also going to say thank you for telling them to go to Starbucks. We appreciate that. If they were being too loud.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, on the call here, I'm very I have a code. I go on the shop. I'm like, hey, for the next hour, no radio, no air chisels, that type of stuff. So we want a nice, quiet environment. But Amber, in the shops that and you're all over the country, are you seeing that most shops are really busy and they're running at capacity, and it's not necessarily a car count issue right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think. And it also it's really interesting because I do a lot of shop discoveries, and even the ones that do appointments or not appointments, they are at full capacity. Sometimes I see walk-ins are 60 cars a day, upwards of 60 cars a day, and that's just absurd. And appointments are just, they're backed out, which is fantastic.
Absolutely, it is. And so the opportunity is there. So we don't necessarily have a car count issue. So what that means is we have to work smarter, and we have to be a little bit more selective on the jobs that we do invest our time and resources into, because there is bad work out there and we don't want to get stuck in some bad jobs. But this is great. I'm having shops that we coach, and I'm having friends that are having record year after record year after record year, and it's getting easier to have those kind of numbers. So, but I'm going to give you a word of caution. Change is happening. And when I do my 3-day class, I start the class out for about an hour. We discuss the state of the industry. We talk about what would happen if 20% of your customers went out and bought a new car. People laugh at me now because, like, man, nobody's buying a new car in the last 12 months because they're so expensive. But no, it's true. If your customers go out and buy a new car, you're going to lose them for a certain period of time. And the technology gap on electric vehicles is going to get shorter super fast, meaning if you watch the Super Bowl this year, Ram Trucks did a commercial on their electric truck coming out, and it caught my attention. I was like, oh, I wonder what's up about this truck. How far could I tow my trailer? And they did it was a pretty cool commercial. If you haven't seen it, just Google it, you can see it. But you've got the electric vehicles are definitely coming, the different power plants are coming, and that can pull work out of our shop. So right now it's great. It can change. It's going to change fast. So I'm going to help you capture the market you have in your shop today. So let's take a little bit look. Let's look at some data here. So the big hype has been about electric vehicles, EVs, but there's also another technology that I think is going to come and rival EVs, and that's the hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. So this came out. I got this email actually a couple of days ago from Motor. And I said over 56,000 hydrogen passenger vehicles sold so far. Now, Toyota came out with their Toyota Mirai a few years ago, and they only leased it, and then you had to return it back to Toyota. So they were doing that to capture data. So this number doesn't scare me as a shop owner. 56,000 cars in the United States, big deal. I'm not going to see those cars for a long time. I can ignore that technology, and it's not going to affect my business today. That number starts to grow, it's a little bit bigger. So here's where we're at. If you look at where we're at right now, let me just do this. Sorry, I was looking for my pointer and I can't find it, so I'm just going to use my mouse. You guys should be able to see my mouse pointer. Here's
I
where we're
don't
at.
think I think you stopped sharing accidentally. At least on my end, you stopped
See,
sharing.
that's why I love having you here, because you keep
I'm
me on
here.
track. Excuse me for this momentary glitch in my technology. There we go. We're back now. Share screen. There my
There you
tools are.
go.
I don't know why
There
I
you
did
go.
that. I went to look for the pin and I shut it down. That's not good. Okay, here we are. We're right here, 2023. Okay, now look at the percentage of all EV as far as percentage of sales of vehicles. We're still well under 10% of the market. Okay, so EVs are not necessarily a huge thing. And I know Scott Brown's down in Claremont outside of Los Angeles, California. He deals a lot in that technology because they're down there. I have a Tesla charging station literally a quarter mile from my shop, but I don't get those cars coming up here asking me for work. So I don't necessarily have to worry about those cars yet. But here's the curve. It's going to ramp up really big. And right in here in the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to see a major shift and a major change. And that's going to be right here. So annual global light-duty vehicle sales are still low. Now, what does all this mean to a general auto repair shop? Well, I look at my most profitable jobs that I have in my shop. A lot of them are light-duty diesel trucks. Those are my $6, $8, $10, $15,000 jobs that I get on a monthly basis. And if a new technology comes out and replaces that, that cash flow is gone. Okay. Now, how can I use this information to help my customer repair their vehicle today? You'll see how all of this ties in. So yes, all of this is happening, but here's what's going to happen. Time's going to pass us really quick. And before you know it, where are we going to be? We're going to be right here. 2025 is going to be here in the blink of an eye, right, Amber?
Yeah.
And then we're going to be at 2030. And California said by 2035, they're not going to let us purchase an internal combustion engine. So that's the wonderful state of California. We'll see if they actually are able to do that.
I was going to test you on that. We'll see. We'll see.
Well,
if
hopefully I can become elected governor of the state of California and change that law before we get there. So
I will hold you to it.
Yeah. So when you see my name on the ballot, please just vote for me if you are in California. Okay. So here is what I want to send the message today. There is an amazing opportunity on every single vehicle that we service today. The opportunity is absolutely huge. What do I mean by that? Obviously, the average age of vehicles is still going up. Now, you have to understand this. What is important about this is where is your customer on their timeline? Okay. As customers get older in their timeline and they've had the car for 10, 11, 12, 13 years, the number one sales objection that we get with those vehicles is the car is not worth fixing. Now, something happened in the last 12 months. Used car values have increased tremendously. So used car values have gone up through the roof. So for the past 4 months, I've been telling customers that tell me that, oh, the car's not worth fixing. I laugh. I say, are you kidding me? That car's absolutely worth fixing. You know, it's not a $1,500 car anymore. It's a $5,000 car. So it is absolutely worth fixing. But as the cars age, it gets a little bit harder for customers to put a larger amount of money in the vehicle. So this trend, I think, is going to kind of plateau. And then we're going to slowly start to see it come back down. And it's going to make our job harder as service advisors to get customers to do repairs on vehicles, especially if customers go to newer vehicles. Okay, so that's the trend that's continuing with the age of vehicles. This slide actually changed my life as an advisor. This is dealing with lead conversion. Now, we did a webinar, I think it was about a year ago with AutoLeap, about getting new customers to the door. And we really drove this point home. So if you haven't seen that webinar, please go back through the archives on their blog and download the video and watch it, because it's a really good presentation of how to convert leads. And it's really easy to get to. Most customers, when they're going to call your shop and ask about doing business with you, they're going to focus on one thing. That one thing is the component or the part. So we very rarely get calls from customers that sound like this. Yeah, Jeremy, I was calling. I have a Ford PowerStroke 6.4. I'm having a couple issues with it. And I was just curious, can you tell me how many years of experience your technician has working on Ford PowerStrokes? is your technician Ford certified? How many of these trucks has he worked on in the last 60 to 90 days? And do you have a drug-free workplace program in place so I can make sure the person working on my car is not on drugs? Do customers ever ask us those questions? No, they don't. And we always get, and it's funny, I'm the king of hiring and firing. I've probably been through 100 employees in 7 years. And it's a badge I'm going to continue to wear with pride. But here's what I see with new advisors. Inexperienced advisors come in, they let the customer control them. So the customer calls and says, hey, I need a price to change my fuel injectors on my diesel truck. Okay, let me get your name and a phone number, and I'll get that price and I'll get it back to you. Experienced advisors know the questions to ask. But here's what we need to do. We've got to take the customer's focus off of the component or the part, put it back on the symptom or the concern. What are they trying to fix? And then enroll them in our root cause analysis. Okay, now I want you to write this down. The overall health and safety of the vehicle, that's what we're looking for. We want to do an overall health and safety check on that vehicle, included in the diagnostic process on whatever the customer wants. And you're going to see how this ties into what I'm going to teach you here in just a second. So customer's going to call you. They're going to ask you for a price or an estimate on a specific component or part. However they came to that conclusion, we're going to focus on what are you trying to fix? What's the triggering event? What happened? And then we will take it from there. And let's see, we have a poll question. Do you see that? I see it. Amber, you're muted. Can you see if the poll question is it on your screen?
I see the poll question.
Okay.
I will launch that.
So what's that?
I launched it for you.
Awesome. Thank you. So one of my questions for you guys is this. Do you set personal goals for yourself? And it's a yes or no. We're just seeing if you guys have personal goals set for yourself. And then there's a couple more I've got because I really wanted to take a litmus test on their goal setting.
I think they all need to launch. Hey, Rory, I think you're on the back end. So if we can launch all of them.
Unless it goes automatically when I move the slide.
I am usually the host of these, and I've allowed others to do it. So I'm just, it's a new thing. So bear with me, guys. I appreciate it. So I'm figuring out the technology on the flip side.
Second one is, how would you categorize your goals primarily? Are they financial, personal, family, health, and professional? And I can tell you mine have been really focused on business, and I've been able to create success there, but at the same time, what you focus on is what you get. And if you neglect goals in other areas, sometimes the family life can suffer. So you need to have well-rounded goals in all of these categories. All right, can we do the next one?
Yep. And the next one, I think, just launched. Are your goals written down?
And Amber, the reason I put this one in here is a lot of times I catch myself and I think that I'm a goal-focused person, but then when I really think about it, I can go sometimes weeks without really revising my goals or writing them down. And the more that you have your goals written down, the clearer that you're going to be at what you want to achieve and what you want to accomplish.
Yeah, I love that. How often do you write your goals down? Do they shift? Do you write them down every year?
Oh, I try to do weekly.
Yeah, that's good.
Mm-hmm. It energizes. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Nope, you're good.
I was going to say, when I find myself feeling that negativity that just life kind of like to drape on you, I'll take a half hour and I go in my kid's treehouse and I just write stuff down and get really clear and centered and focused. It helps.
I love that. Awesome. Yeah, I even do it on a daily, right? So it's at night before the next day happens. I will write down my top 3 things, whether that's personal or business, in my journal, and make sure I get through those the next day. They could change, of course, based on priorities, but at least it gives you some focus. Okay, I think we can end it. Do we have one more poll?
That's a little bit later on.
Okay, perfect. Awesome.
All right. So let's jump back into auto repair. And I'm sitting here thinking, goal setting, man. Sometimes I'm just happy to leave by 9 p.m., get the doors locked, make sure I turn the alarm on, check the back door, and I'm home. So fun
Yeah.
stuff. Um, this is very important, component report. So I'm going to ask you guys to move out of a component replacement shop into more of a system replacement shop. And I'm going to show you that right now. So let's go to our next slide here. Okay. So what am I talking about? Component replacement versus a system repair. And Amber, was really interesting. Owning a shop really makes this stuff tangible and real. And when I didn't own a shop and I was training full time, I'd have all these great ideas and these concepts would come in, and I'd be flying somewhere and I would just be brainstorming. And then I'd get to a shop and we do an on-site training and I would see kind of the fringe of it. But man, when you're in it every single day, this stuff is tangible and it's real. So the picture that you guys see there is from a real car that we worked on. And you can see there are a ton of parts here. There's a water pump. There's a fan clutch. There's heater hoses. There's a heater control valve. Hey, there's the gloves that we use to, fix the car with. There's the lower hose. There's another hose that's here. Here's the radiator. And you can see the radiator's got some debris in here, so the fins are clogged. So this is a system repair. And the challenge with auto repair is traditionally it has been a component replacement industry driven by the consumer. And what I mean by that is the customer has a problem with their car. They think they need a water pump. They call the shop for a price on a water pump. The shop documents that. They check it. Sure enough, the water pump's leaking. They sell the customer a water pump and maybe a flush, maybe a radiator cap or a thermostat. And then the customer goes down the road. And the challenge with that is it is a component replacement. Not a lot of thought's been given to the rest of the components in the system. Now, in the last 6 years running my shop, I have seen the backlash of this. I have seen customers come back upset thinking that their car was fixed. They shouldn't have any other issues with it, and they have another problem. And that's because we didn't take care of the system. We didn't address the system. So what I'm going to encourage everybody to do is move out of a component replacement repair facility and move into a system repair. Now, this takes a little bit of time to master, and it takes a little bit of work. And so the first area I'm going to ask you to focus in on is on cooling systems. And you'll see why I focus in on cooling systems first, okay? And here is the review that we got from this customer. So this is actually a true story. And it says, hey, Jeremy, I'm Rocky, the owner of the Black Safari that you repaired last week. I just want to thank you for the excellent personal service you provided to me and my daughter, Shannon. We are very impressed with your fabulous service and incredible shop. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts to help us to make our trip with no problem. So they were moving to Michigan from California. They were driving all the way across the country and had a coolant leak. And here's what happened. Let me share with you a couple other things. Let me see here. This is the heater control valve that broke on their van. And let me go back here so you guys can see this right here. See all the rust inside? Let me back up real quick. Okay. So that's the heater control valve right there that we changed. Now, if we were a component replacement shop, we would have stopped there. We would have changed the heater control valve, put it back together, and got her on the road. I asked them a question, and this is kind of testing the information that I'm providing to you guys. Does this really work? Is this really something you should do in your shop? And I remember I struggled with this estimate, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is just crazy. The heater control valve is about $450. But if we do the system, it's about $3,800. And Amber, that's a big gap in pricing, right?
Yeah.
Now, as a consumer, if your service writer says, hey, I could do the basic repair for $450 or $4,000, which one are you going to choose?
The lower end.
Yeah,
Especially if I'm moving across country, like that's not an expense that I assumed I was going to have, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I gave the customer the choice. Now, I remember on my estimate, I did not necessarily want to put the heater core in the estimate, but I did because of the age of the car. This car was over 20 years old. And I am so glad I did, because look at the heater core. Do you see the staining on it? It was leak. We couldn't see that though until we got the heater core out, and it wasn't dripping through the pan. But this one taught me something. This one taught me that my job as the advisor is to be the expert. I need to know the cars and the systems on that car better than anybody else in the shop, better than anybody else on the road. And if I don't, I shouldn't be in this business. So number one, I'm going to be the experts on the cars that I service. Number two, experience has taught me that on a system like this, especially a General Motors system, if you have this type of corrosion and this part has let go and you fix this problem, the system is weak and the system is going to have other issues that we can't see right now. And if you're traveling anywhere and you drive any distance, you know, and even if you're in Minnesota and you're driving from, you know, the outskirts of Minneapolis to downtown in winter, that's a safety concern because it gets like below freezing in Minneapolis in the winter, right? The system needs to be addressed. So am I overselling? No, I'm not. I'm giving the customer the choice. Now, if they had chosen just to fix the heater control valve and said, look, our budget doesn't allow us to do the $4,000 repair today. We just want to get the vehicle fixed and on the road. Great. I've done my job. Now, if they leave Hesperia, California, and they get outside of Barstow and another hose lets loose, I've disclosed everything. That's the customer's choice. They chose not to fix the system, but I then disclosed they should fix the system. So that's my big message today. Stop selling components and start looking at the system and let your customer make the choice if they want to fix the system or if they want to fix just the component. Okay. That was a huge eye opener for me. And it's something we're doing consistently now and it works really well. And then you can see right here, they made it on that trip without any problems. They were thrilled and it generated a 5-star review for our shop. We love 5-star reviews, right?
We do.
That one's important. That's a huge one. Now, how do you start to sell the system? Your presentation is going to be based on the information you gather from write-up. I recommend on every first-time customer, you interview them about their timeline. There's 3 questions you're going to ask every customer when they drop the car off at initial write-up. Number 1, how long have you owned the car? Number 2, how long do you plan on keeping it? And number 3, do you have a mileage target on your car? So based on where we're at, if you were dealing with a 2015 vehicle, that car is 7 years old. Okay, age is important. If the car has 100,000 miles on it, you can identify where the customer's at on their timeline. What are their plans for this vehicle? Do they plan on keeping it? Now, here's the reason why I asked this at initial write-up versus at the moment of the sale. At initial write-up, you have a customer that is not prepared for a sales presentation. Every human being has a reflex no. You walk into any retail store on the planet, a salesperson comes up to you and they say, hey, welcome to the best TV store on the planet. Can we help you? You say, nope, I'm just looking. That's the reflex no. In auto repair, that comes with the service advisor's phone call after the car's been inspected. Hey, Mr. Johnson, it's Jeremy, Not So Good Auto Repair. Do you have a couple minutes? Yeah, Jeremy, what's going on? Hey, well, your car definitely needs brakes. I know you brought it in for brakes today. Oh, by the way, my technician found about 18 other things that your car needs. Let's go through those now. And the customer immediately goes into defensive mode. It's like, whoa, 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 what are you talking about? I don't want you to find anything else wrong with my car. And so then we take the sale that we get, and then we don't get to disclose everything else on the vehicle. This is what will open that up, okay? This right here, at initial write-up, getting this information is key. What if this customer said, I've had this car for 7 years, I keep all my cars to 150,000 miles, and then I trade them in for a new one. So now you just identified that customer is literally 3/4 of the way on their timeline, and they have 50,000 miles remaining on their car. This will help you educate your customer on, should they do struts today? Should they do all the fluid exchanges? Do they need to do the spark plugs, the induction service? Should they do the tie rod ends? Should they do the rack and pinion if it's leaking? Whatever needs to be done, it's based on their information, what they want to keep the car for. And having this at write-up will help you be prepared when you make your sales presentation. So this one is absolute key. It's understanding your vehicle timeline. You can download a copy of this form right here. It's a graphic that we have. It's at advisorfix.com. Or if you want your graphic placed on it, send me an email, your logo. I'll put it on there for you and send it back to you so you have it.
I'm going to turn my video off because it sounds like your internet's getting a little splotchy. So I want to make sure everybody gets that. But I also think too, those 3 questions, right? Once you get that response, whatever management platform that you guys are currently using today on a customer level, you can add those notes in as a pinned note so that it lives on with the customer, right? So that no matter, let's just say you have 2 service advisors, right? And they are working on somebody one day, and then the other service advisor comes in and works on the same person. That note is applicable across whomever is working on that car. So it's very important to keep those documented.
Yeah, and this is moving more towards a relationship with your customer versus transactionally
Absolutely.
based. Is my audio okay or is it glitching out?
No, you're good. I'm just going to keep my video off just so you have more bandwidth over there.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, so that's the vehicle timeline, and you can get information on that on the website, and also send me an email. You'll have my email here in just about 29 minutes as we end the call. Okay, so now why sell in systems? When a component fails, it typically means there is something in the system causing the failure. So in the past week, I've had 2 trucks that have come into our shop. One of them was a Dodge Ram. The guy hauls cars. He's an auto transporter. So I get a frantic call on a Monday saying, my truck has death wobble. Can you fix it? And I am a person that loves punishment. So I say, absolutely, I can fix that. Bring me your truck. So we do a small repair on it to get the death wobble to go away. But I told him there's other issues you have on this front end. I don't have time to deal with them today, and you need to get on the road. So you need to bring it back. That transaction completely went sideways, and there's more to it, but here's the issue I had. It's been to 3 different shops trying to fix it with a component at a time. You're never going to fix it with a component. We then had another customer come in on a Ford F-250 with the same concern, death wobble. You hit a bump at 65 miles an hour, the truck feels like it's going to shake apart. He's had it to an independent shop and the dealership in the last 12 months trying to fix it, and they've all replaced certain components but didn't take care of the system. So the system selling method is going to help you eliminate comebacks, and you just have to be in a good, strong mindset that you believe in it enough that you can transfer that belief to your customer, that they're willing to spend the thousands of dollars that it takes to get the system back into shape. So we're going to stop selling components. We're going to move into system selling, and I've got a little bit more information for you there. And then obviously take photos. Make sure you get the digital aspect of the sales transaction down to the customer so they can see what's going on.
Hey, Jeremy, really quick, can you go back the 3 questions, right? Right there, exactly. So we had a question come through. What do you say when they ask, why are you asking how long they plan on keeping their vehicle? Chris, I thank you for that question.
Oh, that's an awesome question. You know, the reason I ask these questions is because at Freedom Auto Repair, we are 100% client focused, meaning we want to match our goals to your goals. So the more that we know about your car up front, the better our technicians are educated on what you want to get out of it so they can assess it properly and give you a prescribed method of repair that's tailor fit for you and your car.
Yeah.
Don't ask me to recite that because I can't say that again.
Thankfully, it's recorded, so there's a transcript on this. That was a great question. I think too, like you said, it's relationship, right? So it's, you know, you are the expert as a service advisor, front counter, but particular service advisor, and so you have to understand what the concern is and how to relate that to them, right? And I think that's what's important too.
Yeah, and you know, I have asked those questions tens of thousands of times, and I can tell you less than 1% of the time do I get a question back as to why are you asking me this? And you know what? The customers that are going to give you a hard time, have fun with them, practice your sales skills on them. It's awesome. So yeah, they just respond. That's it. You know, we want to know more about your car so we can better help you and create a customized maintenance and repair plan tailor fit for you and your car. Those are kind of that's the verbiage that I like to use at the counter at initial write-up. Customers love this. And Amber, when I have a laminated copy of this at the counter with dry erase markers. And when we start drawing on it, the customers actually sometimes will grab the pen and are like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. I'm here and I want to go here. So it really helps them visualize what they're going to do with their car and where they need to spend their money on it.
I love that.
It's awesome. Okay, so systems are important. We're going to take pictures of that. There's proof. That heater core will live in my memory forever because it's a personal story that I made a decision to move forward with it, and I'm glad we did. Had we not done the heater core and the heater core went out on them on their trip, I probably would have reached in my own pocket and paid for it because it's something that we missed, and it was my professional duty to be the expert on the vehicle. Okay. So start this slowly. My advice is to start with these 3 systems first. Cooling systems. And there's some gray areas. You just have to be careful as to what you're recommending, because some cars do a heater course 14 hours and you have to pull the dash apart. And I don't want to do that if I don't have to. So just start with your cooling systems, steering and suspension, and then your check engine light diagnostics. Were you all good there?
Yep.
Okay. And if you need further coaching on that, you can reach out to me and I can help you with it. Okay. And again, why are we doing this is because of the age of the vehicles. So the reason I've got this back in here, let me show you this. Cars that have, realistically, if you have a cooling system leak on a car from 2015 or older, this segment, even if the radiator's not leaking, even if the water pump's not leaking, recommend the system. And here's why. We have a customer by the name of Al Pasimio who drives a 2015 Ford F-150. The truck has 96,000 miles on it. Last week on Thursday, his truck came in and he had a coolant leak at one of the turbo coolant pipes and the fitting. So we did the repair, we did the hoses, but we failed to recommend the system. We didn't recommend the water pump or the radiator. And I'm telling you, as soon as my tech got that stuff back together, he pulls it out front. 5 minutes later, there's a puddle of coolant under the truck. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? Why can't we fix a car right the first time? I'm going to fire everybody. So we pull it back in the shop, put it up in the air, and the darn radiator's leaking. I'm like, somebody's got a camera on us. This is a joke, right? Like, why didn't you check this? And my tech's like, bro, I checked that. Like, I used the borescope. I checked everything. It was dry and it's leaking now. So how do you like to sell $1,000 radiator after you've already made a $1,500 sale on something else and the customer thinks that everything is good? So that's why I recommend the whole system. If I had given Al the choice to do the entire system for, say, $3,500 and he declined it and only wanted to do the repair on the components, I'm not on the hook for any liability as far as missing a coolant leak. And we all know with leaks, they can be everywhere. But this is why I recommend this. It's real. It's out there. You guys have probably had this happen. So as an advisor, anything older than 2015, the gloves are off. Recommend the system. This area right in here, these cars aren't that old. So you've got kind of a gray area in here on what you want to do. And then 2016 to 2017, these cars are starting to move into it. So here's the reality of the situation. We have so much every single day that comes to us as advisors. If you're working on 10 to 15 cars a day and you're doing heavy repairs, half of your day is spent estimating. When you're looking at the estimates that you have to do, I want the age of the vehicle to be a trigger. Immediately, if I'm working on a 2013, I'm thinking system. Okay, what did my technician find? What's the root cause of the problem? What other components in the system do I need to add to my estimate and give the customer the choice? Okay, and that's how I do it. So this is the first level of understanding what needs to be done. It's categorizing the age of the vehicles that you work on. So that's the first step. Okay, do we have any questions on it? Or are we good?
We do not have any questions on it, so you're good.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Amber. And then again, we're going to move out of component part, move into the triggering event and this system. I'm going to clear that, clear all my drawings. Okay, working smarter. So this is all about working smarter. When you look at the numbers on it, it's absolutely phenomenal. you can do a component repair for 2 to 3 hours, but when you're doing a system repair, you're typically anywhere from 6 to 12 hours. Your technicians can do those big jobs in literally about half the time it takes to do them separately. So now if I sell a system, and we have a motorhome in here, it's a 96 motorhome. Yeah, we work on old stuff sometimes. But my advisor sold the system, which is the heater core, the evaporator core, the water pump, the fan clutch, the radiator, all the hoses, the thermostat. The customer's delighted. They're super happy because they're going to go all across the United States this summer. And, we're checking freeze plugs to make sure the freeze plugs don't show any signs of corrosion. But my point is this, that cooling system repair is probably going to take just as much time as just doing the water pump or possibly a hose, and it's going to benefit everybody. So this is one area of working smarter. And then I'm going to jump out here real quick. I'm going to show you something on Identifix real quick. So one of the things that I wanted to bring to everybody today was a tool to become the expert. Okay, so utilize your information systems to help your customer understand that you are the expert. So Amber, every single day we get customers that call us with a code. They've gone to a parts store, they've been given the code number, and they call us for the price on the part. So for instance, this is a 2016 Chevy Cruze with a 1.4, and this customer is going to call us for a price on a turbo because he has an underboost code, and he went to the parts store and they said, yep, your turbo's bad. Now, how I respond to that information is going to be key. The biggest thing I want to do is I want to know what are the test parameters for that code and what could possibly cause this problem. Now, there's a couple different things that could cause that issue, but what I do, and I've done this a lot and I absolutely love it, I will go into Identifix super quick and I'll pop in the code number, and what I get are potential causes over here. Okay. And here's their confirmed fixes. And All Data has this too, and I believe Mitchell does as well. There's a lot of information systems out there. But I'm going to focus in on this one right here. And when I'm talking to the customer, I will basically tell him, you know what, Mr. Customer, you're absolutely right. The most common repair on this particular code is a turbocharger. However, there are 5 other items that could possibly be causing your concern. So why don't we do this? Let's bring the vehicle in and do our level 1 testing package, have my technician put his hands on it and do a root cause analysis on what has failed and why it's failed. And it is possible it could be something other than the turbocharger. It could be your boost control cylinder valve. It could be a turbocharger hose. It could be an O-ring. It could be a charge air cooler. It could even be the intake manifold. I have the test parameters here, and it takes us about a day to get through those. So do you want to bring the car in today or tomorrow? And then basically, if the customer starts asking me more technical questions, I'm going to click on this link right here. If it opens up, there it goes. And now I've got the test parameters, and I can start reading through these and actually tell the customer what we're going to check. So Mr. Customer, we're going to road test it. We're going to have to scan the computer, look at the live data, and see the desired boost pressure versus actual boost pressure since PID or data. If the condition is present, the actual boost pressure will lag behind the desired. Then we have to physically check the charge air cooler hose pipe. So here's the thing. This is getting technical, but I can't memorize all of this. Where is all this at? This is all at my fingertips. And if your internet's fast enough, hopefully on a phone call, you can transition to this fast enough and get this type of information. And for you younger advisors out there who haven't been in the business a lot, who don't have a technical background, you need to study this stuff. Every day you should take a case study home to research online and figure out the parts and the components and the test procedures. And if you don't know what something is, you've got to figure it out because you are expert at the counter talking to that customer. Does that all make sense to everybody?
All makes sense. I mean, you are becoming the doctor for the car, right? Just like when you go into a doctor's office, you have a problem, it's a symptom. Are you going to put a Band-Aid on it and prescribe medicine and not really understand the underlying issues? That's exactly what you're getting at here. I have a few questions that have come up. One, I'm going to answer really quickly. What is that website? That's just identifix.com. Is that
This
correct?
one, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. And then Evelyn asked, how far do you go back in your car repairs? I think you said 80s. You're working on an 80 something. But
Oh, how old of cars will we work on?
yeah.
I hate old cars. So I try to keep it to 2000s and newer. I don't do a lot with BMWs or Mercedes. And then from there, we will take an occasional old vehicle in. I have a 69 Nova in here right now that I just absolutely hate because it's just not profitable at all. So it just set your business up for what you want. The majority of our cars are 2005 or newer that we work on.
Okay, so another question to that is, how do you explain why you won't work on anything older than this one particularly said 1995 or 1999, you said 2005. So how do you explain when somebody calls why you won't work on a car?
Uh, Amber, there's 100 different answers to that question, and it depends on the scenario. For instance, the old Ford E4 systems, which is the engine electronic management generation 4, I hate those vehicles and I won't even touch them just because you're not going to fix them. And I'll tell customers that. They say, "Oh, wow, we had I think we had a 99 Ford Ranger the other day," and I just explained to her, I said, "With that problem, you're going to chase that forever. It's nothing I want to get into. I don't really want to step into that." If I know of a shop who's an expert on those particular vehicles, I will refer them out to those shops. But at the same time, I just let them know that it's not something we really want to jump into. It's not part of our expertise.
Yeah, I love that.
Mhm.
Okay, I think it's not a question. Somebody said, we stopped working on vehicles over 20 years old. We explained the parts can be hard to obtain and we have had technicians retire out that have worked on older vehicles. So.
Wait, are you saying there's nobody left alive old enough to work on that car? That's funny.
We're good there.
That's
You can keep
hilarious.
going.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll just go back to the slide. We're going to go into marketing real quick, right? So let's talk about marketing. What type of cars, if your marketing is driving older vehicles, why? You should be able to get the right cars that you want to service. All right. Yeah, so I encourage you to work smarter. So that was the part of it. When you look at being smarter and getting better results, it is. You guys are right. Yes, categorizing those cars. I'm a softie in that I love our customers. I love everybody that we work with. Most of the customers, all those ones that don't have a lowercase x at the end of their last name, that we have fired. But I'll make an exception based on a workflow situation and see if it is something, for instance, the 96 motorhome that we have here. My advisor came to me and said, "Look, this customer's called 8 shops up here. Nobody wants to help them. They really need some help. What can we do to help them?" And I said, "Okay, what engine is in it? What power plant is it? Is it something I know? Yes, it is. I can work on it. I'll take it in." So that's how I made that decision. But yeah, I encourage you all to work smarter. Okay, let me check our time. Okay. Oh, wow.
You're
We're a
good.
little bit.
You're
We're a
okay.
little bit.
You're right. Sometimes it'll stay longer, which I love. So.
Okay. So that's all the technical side of it. So, and understand this. I'm going to kind of end the technical side with my journey and what I've noticed. So out of the 54 advisors I've had in 7 years, 4. I think the average length of employment is in the hours, not in days or weeks. I'm joking with that. I will observe new advisors that come into my shop. Now, understand, my shop is my baby. It is my world. It is everything. It is going to put my kids through college. It is going to fund my retirement. It is my ego. It's my everything in my world is wrapped around my shop. So the reputation is huge, and I protect it. I'll fight for it. So that's the passion I have about my shop. So when an advisor comes in and works next to me and they're answering the phone and I'm observing them, what I see is this. I see advisors that they know they have a system they have to follow, meaning we don't give a price over the phone before we see the car. We have to look at your car first. I can't give you a price without seeing your car. There's this battle that goes on between what the customers want and what the advisor is willing to give. And there's this friction that's created. And I just try to eliminate that friction. I am not afraid to give pricing over the phone. I quote prices all day long, and our sales are phenomenal. I learned to do it in a way with some disclaimers that, gets the cars that we want in, wins the job for us, sets the transaction up for success. But what I hear is that customers are very savvy today. They're smart. They can read through people that don't know their craft. So you should become an expert on the cars that you service. You should be able to get the information that you need immediately. You should have access to all of this information. After all, we are in the information age, to make yourself be in a position of an expert for that customer. There's things that you can do to set yourself up for that. And the service advisors that I've had that have told customers, I need to talk to my technician about that, and they don't convert the lead. The customers get upset. They want to talk to the expert immediately, and that's you. So you are the expert. Work smarter, educate yourself, and take your career to the next level. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Any questions on that?
No, not yet.
Okay. My favorite time of day? It's time for a Red Bull. No, it's not. I don't even drink this stuff hardly anymore. I drink other stuff. I wanted to give you guys a quick tip on energizing your body. So put the Red Bull down. Now, this is interesting, Amber. I've been an advisor for a long time, and I remember at the dealership, we would have Carl's Jr.'s double bacon cheeseburgers for bread. We ate horrible. I mean, it was really bad. I'm surprised we all didn't die of heart attacks at the counter. It was really bad. Your caffeine, we're putting in 12 to 14 hours a day. We're working a lot of hours, high stress, and just our diet was just horrible. And a lot of times we reach for stuff like this to give us energy, when there's another way, and there's a healthier way to actually energize your body. And I just wanted to share that technique with you real quick. So I'm going to walk you through this real fast, and hopefully it helps. And if it does help you, please shoot me a text or an email later on and tell me what you got out of this. So we have a poll question. That poll question is this: do you want to see an increase in your natural energy? So that E should be energy. And so do you want to see an increase in your natural energy? Yes or no?
Well, right. I know I am guilty of going for coffee, multiple rounds of coffee. I have limited myself to 2 cups a day. But on a day like today, my kids are home for winter break because they're never in school, I swear. I'm ready for 3 cups, maybe 4. So.
Absolutely. And when I coach, I drink about a pot a day. So I love coffee. I love caffeine. Caffeine doesn't really affect me. At least so I've told myself that. And I just keep drinking it. So it's all good. But the purpose of this is a breathing exercise. Now, when you look at what we need as human beings to survive, what is the one thing that we absolutely have to have or we will die the fastest? Do you know what that is, Amber?
Happiness? The sun? Wait, you said, no, I don't. Tell me.
It's oxygen, right?
Well, there you go. Simple.
Yes, simple. Yes. If you don't have oxygen and you stop breathing, you are going to die in a matter of minutes, right?
Yeah.
Like, boom, you're done. You're checked out. Okay. So oxygen is key. So one of the things, it's funny, we have this desk out there it's got a high desk, but the service advisor sits, and all the advisors will sit in it. And I call it the energy suck, because you sit in that chair and you're just like, hi, can I help you? What do you need? And that's just not how I like to serve people. That's not what we do. So here's what we do. If you need an energy boost, before you go grab the Red Bull or throw some sugar in your blood, let's do this. Let's do a quick breathing exercise to oxygenate your blood. So this is it. It's 5, 20, and 10. So what we're going to do is we're going to breathe in for 5 seconds. We're going to hold it for 20 seconds, and then we're going to exhale for 10 seconds. Really easy. You're going to breathe in through your nose. You're going to hold it 20 seconds. Then you're going to exhale out for 10 seconds. Now, some of you are going to pass out and fall out of your chairs on the exhale after about 5 seconds because you haven't actually done this in a while. And the other thing that I want you to pay attention to is your physiology. What do you do with your body? Now, notice I just sat up straighter. And just simply doing that has given me more energy. So I feel better right now. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to breathe in for 5 seconds. We're going to hold it for 20, and then we're going to breathe out for 10 seconds. We're going to do this 3 times. So this is what I do about 10 times a day. If I need an energy boost, I'll come in my office and I do this super fast. because I don't want to hyperventilate, but I want to oxygenate my blood. So first thing is, I'm going to walk you through this really carefully. You're going to sit up straight. You're going to clear your mind, say clear 3 times, clear, clear, clear. And you're going to breathe in through your nose for 5 seconds. So here we go. Take a deep breath in for 5 seconds. Ready? That's the intake. Now you're going to hold it for 20 seconds. So now we're going to hold it for 20. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You're almost there. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Now we're going to exhale out our mouth for 10. Now, right here's where I run out of breath. You really got to push that stomach in. So you're going to pull your stomach in and get all that oxygen out. Oh, and you're back to normal. Okay, so we're good. Now shake it out. Now imagine we're going to do that 3 times. Here we go. So get ready. How many of you are already feeling better? Like you've got some oxygen in your blood. You're moving around a little bit. You're
I love
feeling
this.
better. Yeah.
I do. Joe Dispenza does breath work. Have you ever done his breath work?
I have not. No.
You should look into that.
This came from Tony Robbins from like when he was, I don't know, his 20s back in the 80s. That's how old I am, right? So, okay, so we do this 3 times. So let's do it one more time. Here we go. Get some energy going. We're going to take a breath in for 5 seconds. Here we go. Now we're going to hold it for 20. And then we're going to exhale for 10. Oh, okay. Wow. That feels great. There you go.
Feels so much better.
That is your energy breathing exercise. If you need a lift, do that. I sometimes will run outside and literally run around the building twice. And the tire guys next to us are like, what in the world is that guy doing? You know, I just like to move. I like to get my body going. So oxygenate your blood. It feels great. It's a natural way to do it. In California, don't do it in the cars that have marijuana in them because you'll be hungry in about an hour. So just be careful where you take in your oxygen. You know, it's just one of the things that we do. So hopefully that helps you guys out. And it's a good tip that'll stay with you for a long time. And you can do this 3 times. Sometimes I'll do it 10 times to really get the blood oxygenated. And it just creates some wonderful, wonderful things in your body. All right. Okay. Do we have any questions or comments that we need to handle?
We have an experience that I will share at the end, so you can keep going.
Perfect. So it's my last slide for the day. In anything that you learn, you have to go practice your craft. Okay. So practice, drill, and rehearse. So you are only going to get better at your craft if you practice. So I always like to look at the NFL. And if you look at an NFL game is 4 quarters of 15 minutes. It's 60 minutes in length. Takes about 3 hours to play. The average wide receiver in an NFL game is active in that game with the ball in their hands for 11 seconds. These guys make millions and millions of dollars a year for an 11-second performance. And here's my question. How many hours a week do they practice for that 11-second performance? Okay, typically 60 to 80 hours. Now, the challenge is in auto repair, we will work 60 to 80 hours and not even practice 11 seconds. So we're completely opposite. So I encourage you at least once a week, get a role play partner, make sure you're practicing your sales presentations at least 1 time per week. And if you need help with that, reach out to me. I'll get you connected with somebody. All right. And there's my contact info. So if you need anything, there's Advisor Fix. There's some free materials there. And there's that 1996 motorhome that we're working on. No, that's not the one. That picture was like, that picture's 6 years old.
I was going to say, that's an old picture. I've used that picture a few times, like in the last 2 years. So
yeah, we'll update it here pretty soon. I'll get back to the social side and get some thumbs up from some customers. So there's all my contact information. So there we go.
Well, I appreciate your time today. And I was going to share an experience that John shared. I love that. But just a quick FYI, guys, keep questions coming if you have any. I will get them responded to now. Once I close this, the survey will go out. I also just shared AutoLeap is doing a virtual conference next month in place of our webinars. We have a ton of speakers, including Jeremy is speaking on service advisors again. So different topic. So make sure to stay tuned for that and sign up. But we had a comment. John said, not a question, but an experience last week. We had a 2.5 liter twin cam Subaru with 98,000 miles come in that was at another shop. The customer used to be our loyal customer. Ooh, this is getting good. But now is going to the other shop. She took her Subaru to that shop several times recently due to the overheating. The shop replaced hoses, radiator, thermostat, etc. Over several visits, the experience of that was almost $4,000. At that time, that shop owner told her the car was not repairable and she should purchase a new car. When the customer bought the Subaru to us, we diagnosed it as having a bad heat gasket seep and the cause of the loss of coolant. We removed the engine and replaced the bad gaskets. It's too bad that this shop can't diagnose something as simple as a bad head gasket. So repairing the systems.
It is, it's there. And as soon as John said it was a Subaru, I said head gaskets just immediately.
You did what?
I know. I knew where that story was going just as you were going into it. It's unfortunately it happened to us, and it's one of those things that you get a car coming in, the water pump's dumping, and the obvious thing for the tech is it needs a water pump. I mean, we can see it, but what's the root cause of that issue? And the root cause of that customer's concern was head gasket issues. And unfortunately, the $4,000 that she spent doing components could have been put towards the entire repair and cut her repair bill in half. It's a lot less to do it once right the first time. So John, thanks for sharing that story. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I can't even imagine as the customer, right? Like you've just spent that money and now it's like, oh, now you need to go buy a new car that's going to cost you upwards of $60,000, if so much more right now. Like I can't even fathom that. So it's crazy. Thank you for sharing that. Heather asked a question, is the event that I mentioned an all-day event? It is a virtual event. We do have sessions going on all day. So I sent around the link in the chat. Check that out and you'll see kind of where all the sessions are during that day. And you can pop in during it. So we'll love to have you. Awesome. If anybody have any other questions, we would love to get those answered. If not, we will let you guys and Jeremy back to your shops.
Awesome.
I think so. Awesome. Well, thank you, Jeremy. Oh, one more popped in. Hold on. Thanks, Jeremy and Amber. As always, great seeing you.
Thank you.
Great seeing you. Awesome. Well, make sure you do your breath work. I appreciate that. I always do that. So, and everything else, it's very applicable to life too. Don't just put a Band-Aid on it. You are the expert. Your service advisor should be the expert in everything. So I also included the Identifix link in case you were wondering. It's in the chat function as well, and we will send out the recording tomorrow.
Absolutely. I want to say thanks to Rory for all her help on the back end. Without her help, we could not have made this possible. Thank you. And all the team over at AutoLeap, you guys are awesome.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you, Rory. Thank you, Jeremy. You guys have a great day.
All right. See ya.